Welcome to 3.TV. I am Ruchi Sharma. Strategy would consider selling Bitcoin only if its stock falls below net asset value and the company loses access to fresh capital, CEO Fong Lee said in a recent interview. Lee told the What Bitcoin did show that if Strategy's multiple to net asset value were to slip under 1 and financing options dry up, unloading Bitcoin becomes mathematically justified to protect what he calls Bitcoin yield per share. However, he noted that the move would be a last resort, not a policy shift. I would not want to be the company that sells Bitcoin, he said, adding that financial discipline has to override emotion when markets turn hostile. Strategy claims its debt remains well covered if BTC falls to its average purchase price of about $74,000 and still manageable even at $25,000. 21Shares XRP ETF is set to join the list of funds already trading in the market. This comes as institutional demand grows, with the ETFs recording $666 million in inflows in less than a month of full trading. According to a new filing, 21Shares has been cleared to start trading for its US spot XRP ETF on Monday. The fund will trade under the ticker TOXR. The fund will be listed on the CBOE BZX exchange after being given the go-ahead by the US SEC. This listing follows the automatic approval by the issuer, with the SEC using a Form 8A. It completes one of the last steps that have been required for a US-listed crypto ETF to enter the market. The launch puts 21Shares alongside major issuers who are already seeing demand for their products. The forthcoming listing places the fund as the fifth XRP ETF to list in the US market within days. CoinShares International Limited has withdrawn its applications with the US Securities and Exchange Commission to launch spot exchange-traded fund for XRP, Solana and Litecoin. The reversal concludes CoinShares' bid to compete in the US spot market, a sector that has been rapid consolidation around giants such as BlackRock Incorporation and Fidelity Investments. The decision comes as Europe's largest digital asset manager prepares for a US public listing following its $1.2 billion merger deal with the Winehill Capital Investment Corporation. By scrapping the plans for single asset products, which have been commoditized, CoinShares is expected to focus on higher margin offerings such as active management strategies and digital asset equity exposure to differentiate itself from the US incumbents. A new quarterly disclosure with the US Securities and Exchange Commission shows that BlackRock's Strategic Income Opportunities portfolio increased its holdings of the iShares Bitcoin Trust during the third quarter. The fund reported 2.39 million shares of IBIT worth about $155.8 million as of September 30th. That's up from 2.09 million shares at the end of June, a rise of roughly 14%. SIOP is an unconstrained income fund that normally invests across bonds, mortgages, emerging market debts and cash equivalents. Because of its flexibility mandate, it can also add exchange-traded funds when it sees value in doing so, which is why IBIT appears alongside its fixed income assets. Amundi, one of the largest asset managers in Europe, has issued a tokenized share class of its flagship Euro Cash fund in an effort to bring more products onto distributed ledgers. The Amundi Fund's Cash EUR fund now trades in a hybrid setup. Investors can purchase the traditional share class with cash or hold a tokenized version on Ethereum. The first transaction was settled on November 4th. The statement said Amundi developed the product in collaboration with CACEIS, a European asset servicing firm that provides the digital wallet and the platform for handling subscriptions and also redemptions. Tokenization turns fund shares into blockchain-based records, which promises quicker settlement and a clearer audit trail. The UK will require domestic crypto platforms to report all transactions from UK resident users starting in 2026, expanding the scope of the OECD's crypto asset reporting framework. Also, this gives HMRC automatic access to both domestic and cross-border crypto data for the first time, strengthening tax compliance ahead of the CARF's Global Data Exchange in 2027. CARF mandates annual reporting, user identity verification, and detailed transaction disclosures by crypto service providers. While CARF mainly targets cross-border activity, the UK's expansion closes a key gap to ensure domestic crypto activity doesn't become an off-CRS asset class that avoids the transfer transparency applied to traditional financial accounts. Uzbekistan is moving to bring stablecoins into its formal payment system, starting with a tightly controlled development sandbox. According to local media, Uzbekistan's new stablecoin regulatory framework will come into force on Jan 1st, 2026. The new law signed on Thursday establishes a regulatory sandbox under the purview of the National Agency for Prospective Projects together with the central bank. Pilot projects are expected to be implemented to develop a stablecoin-based payment system operating on distributed ledger technology. Starting next year, Uzbekistan-based entities will be allowed to issue tokenized shares and bonds, and a separate trading platform will be created on licensed stock exchanges for these assets. KuCoin, the digital asset exchange, has announced its support for the upcoming VeChain network upgrade and hard fork. The VeChain network upgrade and associated hard fork are anticipated to commence at approximately 11:27 on December 2nd, 2025. The exchange is preparing to manage the transition to ensure the integrity and safety of user funds during the maintenance process. To facilitate this, KuCoin will temporarily halt all deposit and withdrawals for the wet network. KuCoin has advised users not to deposit or withdraw VeChain assets until the maintenance work is completed and services are formally restored. The trading activities involving VeChain will remain completely unaffected during the network event. Additionally, the platform has confirmed that this upgrade of the network and hard fork will not create new tokens to be distributed among the token holders. Crypto markets are bracing for nearly $1.8 billion worth of tokens set to unlock in December, creating a potential supply shock that could influence price and volatility. Major unlock include Sui and Aster, each releasing around $86.8 million, along with significant releases from Layer 0, Aptos, and Eagle Layer. Historically, many holders tend to sell newly unlocked tokens, raising the risk of short-term market pressure. Analysts say the impact will depend on whether broader macro factors, including anticipated rate cuts and shifting policy signals, help absorb the increased supply or intensify downside momentum as the month unfolds. XRP just became easier to buy worldwide. XRP can now be purchased via Apple Pay and Google Pay across 40 countries. The announcement highlights a major expansion in accessibility. The integration enables users to buy XRP directly with mobile payment options. This simplifies the purchase process for many investors. The change is significant because it reduces barriers for new users entering the crypto market. Trust Wallet leads this new implementation. The wallet now supports Apple Pay and Google Pay for purchases of XRP and other major digital assets. Users can select the payment option, choose XRP, and complete the transaction quickly. The feature is available in over 40 countries. Major markets include the United States, the UK, Germany, Canada, Japan, Australia, and the UAE are included. Users in these regions can now convert fiat into XRP without complicated steps. Well, that's all in this bulletin for now. This is Mritu Sharma signing off. Keep watching 3 TV.